Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to What's the 411 News. And in the news, we have Suge Knight is doubting that Snoop Dogg really owns Death Row Records. All right. So, yeah, we're going to find out what that's about. All right. And find out what's going on with that. Welcome back, everybody. Once again, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow the channel. All right. Tell your people about it. Share the video. And, yeah, we're going to get into it, man. Again, like I said, Suge is getting his way in the news again some way, somehow. And he's saying that, nah, Snoop don't own Death Row. He's doubting that. All right. So with that being said, man, let's get into it and find out what he's talking about. All right. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. All right. Look at my man Snoop. Looking a little different in this picture. But anyway, again, Suge Knight questions whether or not Snoop really owns or has ownership of Death Row Records. All right. So yeah, we're going to get into it. All right. In a new jailhouse call, Suge Knight has questioned Snoop Dogg's ownership of the label that he co-founded, claiming he lost the company over a fraudulent transaction. All right. The Dogg father acquired the pioneering rap label from the Blackstone-owned MNRK Music Group in February of last year. Nonetheless, according to Suge Knight, there is no Death Row Records without him. And he accused his ex-business partner, Michael Harris, of shady dealings. That's interesting right there. I don't know if he do, Suge Knight replied. His opinion, he said, I don't know if he does in regards to Snoop really owning Death Row Records. And he says he doubts that. All right. He really doubts that. All right. And we're going to play some audio here in a second. All right. The former music mogul, currently serving 28 years for voluntary manslaughter, stated, I am Death Row. Suge Knight is Death Row. Before insisting iconic works like Tupac's All Eyes on Me will forever be attributed to his time as CEO. However, he went on to imply Snoop Dogg and Harry O committed bankruptcy fraud to take the company from him. I didn't lose my company by doing anything wrong, Suge Knight continued. They went in and the lawyer didn't show up and they got a default judgment. Suge Knight says his claim that he settled the judgment was disputed, but added he only found out last week that they committed bankruptcy fraud. He claims his former partner fled he claims his former partner, meaning Harry O, filed for bankruptcy in 1995, or he could be meaning Snoop, when he didn't have a right to do it, and so should have been barred from settling the Death Row Records case. Check out the clip. At the end of the page, we're going to go ahead and play this audio real quick. However, although Suge Knight seemingly implied Snoop Dogg was involved in the alleged shady dealings with Harry O, the West Coast icon only acquired Death Row Records in 2022. All right. So there's that on that. And yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and play this audio real quick, and you guys can listen in and tell me what you think. All right. So let's check out this audio and we'll get right back with you in a sec. All right. Let's get it.
You gotta remember one thing. When I first got in this business, people was only getting 5% airtime on the radio. If they got 10%, they was popping champagne bottles. I was the first person to hit radio like it was an R&B act or a pop act. And I went from 95% to 97%. At one time, 97% of the stuff you hear on the radio was either on death row or somebody that was managing. I was the first one ever knew to own my masters. I'm the first one ever got people out their contract.
But how do you feel about Snoop owning it now?
Well, I don't know. If he do, I doubt that. But if he did, it'll be a situation. Well, first of all, you got to look at it like this. I'm quite sure everything, I am death row. Suge Knight is death row. So I'm quite sure, before it's said and done, all eyes on me and Machiavelli out of Fox up there to come back to me. And the rest of the stuff. But one problem with that is that Snoop has a partner, which is Michael Harris, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
If you look at it, they committed fraud. They committed bankruptcy fraud. I didn't lose my company by doing anything wrong. They went in and a lawyer didn't show up, and they got a default judgment. I settled the judgment. They turned around and said I didn't settle the judgment, but they committed bankruptcy fraud, which we just found out for sure last week. When they filed bankruptcy in '95, they said it didn't have nothing to do with death row or anything, and the lawyer did also, and their lawyers knew. And you can't commit bankruptcy fraud and settle and do those type of things. So the same guy. You see in the series, when you see all of his deposition in prison, her deposition, when they say, and the lawyers knew this, they had filed bankruptcy and they didn't have a right to do it, and they settled. You can't turn around and do it. It's called illegal. It's a crime. So you can't take a person who committed the worst crime of the century to take death row from black people to try to give it to white people and think you're going to turn around and reward and say he's going to grab Snoop and they're going to go get it back and have death row. It don't work like that. So if we're gonna talk about something, let's talk about it.
Do you have a favorite album on Death Row?
That is a blessing. Murder Was the Case was, the Murder Was the Case story was, like I said, I don't want to give it all away because a lot of stuff in the series, but at the same time, we was going to do a song called, we went to go see a movie called Natural Born Killer. And they wanted me to do a song on there. So when it was time for me to do that song, I said, well, I got to put the other people on the Death Row family on there also. They said, no, we only want one song. So I told Jimmy, I told everybody, I said, hey, well, I can't participate in this because if they can't take everybody, we can't do it at all. They said, what you going to do? I said, I'm going to do my own soundtrack. They said, but you don't got a movie coming. I said, we're going to do our own movie. So I went back, I grabbed Snoop, I grabbed everybody. I said, Michael Jackson did a long video. It was like a movie like Thriller. Snoop, you look like Michael Jackson. Shit, you a star like Michael Jackson. We're going to do Murder Was a Case and build that around you. Let you take a picture by my 6'1" cigarette, my favorite spot, the Peninsula, and get everybody on there. And what you have on there, you have you have a variety of music from everybody. And you can put that CD in still today. I still play it myself sometimes. They didn't even think it could get done that fast, right? It got done so fast. And like I said, everybody just came in and Danny Boy did a hit song on there. Mm-hmm. The Dog Pound, Snoop. It's not one person there, even outside people. We wouldn't have reached out and said, hey, come on there. If somebody wanted to do something, if somebody wanted to be on there, we put them on there. And everybody got paid.
All right, so you guys heard it. All right, hold on, let me get that out of here. So y'all heard it from Suge, man. One thing that's real interesting about Suge to me, you don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but he always seems to know. He gives you the impression that he really knows his business. He knows, like, he seems to know the ins and outs of everything regarding the music industry, and I guess he parlays or connects that with the filming industry. So it's real interesting, man. He says he doubts it, and what it sounds like to me is that he's claiming doubt because not that he has no actual proof per se, although he says that they committed Harry O and Michael Harry O Harris and Snoop committed some type of bankruptcy fraud, and that's how they were able to obtain the record label. It's kind of interesting because he seems to, throw things like that in there, but as his basis of saying he doubts Snoop owns it is because, in a nutshell, he's trying to say he's the real face of Death Row Records. So when people think of Death Row, they think of Suge and not Snoop. So I guess that's his basis of thinking that's why Snoop don't own it. But apparently Snoop owns the record label, and I guess Harry O owns it as a partner. So I don't know, Suge. Unless Suge plans on doing some things inside the jail cell, which I don't know if he's allowed to, or if he is going to make any sense, because yeah, he's looking at 28 years. So who knows? He might get out earlier. Nobody knows. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic with that whole thing. So you guys let me know what you think about this, man. And be sure to subscribe to the channel. And always, man, like I say, no matter where you are around the world, you can always bet on the new black media. All right. So with that being said, we'll be back again with some more news. I'm out of here. Peace. Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it.